Hey, what's up? How's it going? This is Faern Phase's weekly energy report for November 21st to 28th. So, today we are in a what I like to call a transitions day, but it is focused on attractions. And by the time this video comes out, we'll have already kind of gone through the phase all the way. But what you can focus on if you are here is what it is you truly need in your life and not what you actually want. So these aren't the same things, right? And right now, because there's so much going on around us in society, in the big shift that all of humanity's consciousness is in, it is actually becoming very challenging to focus. For some people it is, and then it isn't. If you have been practicing with the ascension path, you know that today is kind of a go window, and there's a lot of energy, and it's possible to do things. While a few days ago it was literally impossible. People were walking in circles, and I mean highly awakened people seriously just not having it. And that's fine. I mean, we all have to be really honest about how this is happening. Otherwise, there are a lot of hitches in the road. So, after we move through this attractions day, we come immediately into a very constructive phase. It's one of the longer phases. It's going to feel like a lot of work. Right now, everything is a lot of work. If you need to do inner work, everything outside of you is going to argue with you about it. If you have to do outer work, something inside of you is going to have an uproar. This is exactly what's happening for pretty much all of the energy sensitive people that have just kind of come onto the path. If you're well versed in this, you know that every time that happens, you return to your personal intention, and then things start to shift. This is work. It's not easy. It's something that takes practice. If you become very confused, this isn't a bad thing. Try not to reassess. When there's a lot of work happening in the constructive phase, often this becomes confusing. This is what I've noticed. Another thing that I'm noticing that's going out or happening out there pretty easily is a lot of people are trying to jump on the expansion wagon, and they're absolutely not ready for it. Their mind isn't ready for some of the things that are happening, which isn't bad. I'm not saying that you have to be ready, but sometimes we come across information that is for us. We just get a little earlier, and that is because there's so much information available. Here's the thing: you might have to do some personal work in order to integrate that information. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you are not actually working with being energy sensitive, and all of a sudden your life does a flip-flop, this is really hard to work with. And that's kind of what this energy feels like, especially if you know that your life didn't just do a flip-flop. That's one of the things. There is a high degree of judgment in the collective. It's super high, and it's going to continue to rise. There's going to be another mass awakening kind of thing coming up. The judgment is amplified as the precursor to that happening. That is, I don't know when that's exactly happening, but it's coming. All of my teachers are saying that, and they're pretty much always right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be referencing them. One thing that I mentioned in my podcast this past week is the same as what I'm about to tell you. We are in dark night of the soul as far as humanity's consciousness is concerned. This phase has been all year, and what is happening is it's coming in waves. Okay, some people are just now noticing what that is. Fine. What it is this is going to kind of clash with that mass awakening thing. And what happens in that time is people need to speak up and speak out and kind of assess the situation. So, some people in your life might assess on a religious standpoint, which is going to feel really agitating to you if that's not your method. Try to look for open communication. If you're here and you're here looking at these videos every week, this is part of the point. I am trying to help people that are energy sensitive, that are wired to be helpers, to actually be able to help and not fall back into the victimization role that happens, that often happens. So, this is part of being heart centered, and this is part of showing people how they can be that way. So, open communication is a direct route for that. You don't have to believe in their beliefs and they don't have to believe in yours. Here's the thing, they're not going to. All they want is to be heard, which is exactly what you probably wanted not that long ago, right? This very constructive phase moves us right into the full moon. I didn't really sit and energetically look at those days yet. The full moon comes right after the week. So, this is Saturday. Next Saturday, it will be a Sunday. Okay. Being that a lot of the United States is going back into lockdown, all of that stuff, this is going to add to the agitation. So, as an energy sensitive being, you're going to have to be extremely focused around the full moon time. It's going to be so prismatic for the people around you that it's going to most likely cause a little bit of an uproar. And since we're sensitive to that, regardless of it being directed at us, we need to understand how to process that in our body. If you're highly energy sensitive, this is where you're going to have to drink more water, take a shower, leave the room. If this is a holiday thing and you're having a super sensitive time, you need to leave the room. Excuse yourself repeatedly. Go to the bathroom a million times. Walk into the kitchen for a glass of water. Wash your hands, all of that stuff. I mean, some people aren't even going to get any holidays this year, which, to be frank, who's Frank? I personally don't think that this is a big deal. I mean, I don't really do holidays, so that's probably why I don't think it's such a big deal. But to be honest, 1 year of being safe shouldn't be such a big deal. I get that it's been a really hard year for a lot of people, and I am included in that. And of course, I want to be with family and friends. Of course, I want to give gifts and get hugs and give hugs and all of that stuff. But I also want people to live, So if this is something that is very much bothering you, please take the time to assess what is actually happening for you and if there can be some other way that you can provide for yourself for this year. I would love to help. Leave some comments. Let's see if we can come up with something fun. Have a Zoom meeting. No, we won't do that. Just kidding. But we can comment and chat. I totally understand. Now, not everybody has family around. And it's that time of year and it's been a weird year. And now all the politics and all the stuff and the things. So I totally understand if it's agitating. We're kind of in charge of fixing that up for ourselves, though, especially if you know you're energy sensitive. I'm not saying it's easy, but providing yourself with some kind of pathway. This is why I like yoga, asana practice so much, or breathing exercises are very helpful, especially if it is for sure an outward energy that you're working with. Remember, you are not a sponge as an empath. You're a filter. So you need to work on what that filter is and how you can do it. Maybe you got to shake it out. Maybe you do the water thing, take a shower thing, go for a run, have a yoga asana practice, sit for meditation. Although if you're highly agitated, I don't necessarily recommend that, but some people it works. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this. You can see that I'm very high vibe right now. It's because it's a go window, but at the same time, I am working on personal attractions, and I want to be able to help as many people as possible. So I'm just throwing that in the end of this video. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye now.